Hi. I read a quote that said, "Whoever left you in the middle of the ocean has forfeited their right to know whatever the sharks did to you or what wounds you acquired while surviving it." In other words, your scars are not theirs to study. So, that friend, family member, partner who left you and now suddenly wants to know how you're doing has no place in your life. Let them go. Yes, I said so. When someone disappears and reappears unexpectedly, it creates a loop in your heart similar to gambling. Gambling has aspects of uncertainty in it. You never know when or if you're going to get a reward. And so your heart becomes emotionally invested and your brain hyper focused. So much so that this intermittent contact creates hope, confusion, and emotional addiction. Let me unpack that. Partners who ghost or break up and return later often have avoidant attachment styles. They fear intimacy but crave connection. So their return is less about true change but more about seeking emotional familiarity without deep vulnerability and commitment. So you, the empath or nurturer, represents a space where they once felt powerful and admired, even if they were emotionally absent. And this translates into what we call familiar spirits in the spiritual world, or people who look at life deeper than what meets the surface. Our mirror neurons are key in empathy and feeling seen, and so they help us recognize emotions and intentions in others. They are activated strongly when someone resembles a significant figure from your past, someone who mirrors your childhood wounds and loopholes. When someone from your past or something from your past comes to light again. For example, deja vu moments, and you're like, I've been in this place and someone has said the same thing to me. Or just home in general. But we have to remember that home is not always safe. Home is not always peaceful. Home is not always good for us. I think we can all relate to this at some point in a lot of people around us life. They get to go away from family because they consider maybe family to be toxic, or just the fact that they want to find themselves. So family is not always healthy. They may mimic home, but you have to be careful and discern, because it could just be chaos wrapped in nostalgia. Without self-awareness, you would mistake that pull for destiny. Meanwhile, it is not. It's actually emotional regression. It presents a feeling of love without the structure of love. So I'm gonna tell you this. Sometimes it's not love calling you back. It's a familiar spirit hoping that you've not grown past it. A familiar presence about reclaiming a version of you that did so much but needed less and asked nothing in return. Again, sometimes it's not love calling you back. It's not growth most of the time. It's not destiny. For example, you have a partner who reminds you of your emotionally distant father. You're drawn to him not because he's safe, but because he is familiar. His inconsistencies keep you wanting, chasing, and hoping to find love, just like in childhood. Or you have a partner who is trying to reawaken emotional muscle memory. They send you a song, a meme, or an inside joke, a joke you both used to laugh at together. Nothing honest, nothing true. You're not apologizing. They're trying to make you reminisce and remember those moments with them. The feel-good manipulator, that's how they are called. Because they're trying to make you feel good and remember how, your moments together were. But they left anyway. If those moments were that good, why did they leave? Why are they returning suddenly with no explanations and hoping to pick up things exactly where they left off? Or the guy who uses exploitation of familiar entry points. They come around when you're grieving or at a down moment in your life and they say, I just had a feeling that you needed someone. Yes, I need someone, but that someone is not you. Because you're not safe for me. You're not healthy for me. Second type of ghosters are those who test your boundaries. I've experienced this personally, and that's why I'm actually here doing this video. Because it hurts to the core. And they try to make you feel like you are crazy. When you have not yet established firm boundaries, this category of people return with the intention of picking up where they left off because they feel like they still have that emotional access. And once you've set boundaries, they try to test them. When someone from your past comes back into your life and encounters new and firm boundaries, it threatens their previous power dynamic. Your growth and emotional intelligence reveals their lack of evolution or stagnation. And so instead of rising to meet those standards that you set, they try to invalidate it by calling you too cold, too formal, too snobbish, unfriendly. But it's not genuine concern. It's a covert power struggle. Your previous self used to be easier to sway, emotionally pliable, very apologetic, very forgiving. But now you are intentional, vocal, and very firm. And so they're going to try to fight the disruption of familiarity. They are mourning their proximity betrayal, loss of control, ego injury, and relational grief. Because their unrestricted access now has access denied written all over it. So what do you expect? Your no has become stable. And of course, they're calling it an attitude. And boundary testing is done very subtly. A harmless touch, a joke about your values, or clearly ignoring and doing something that you asked that it should not be done. These micro transgressions are done in order to see if you fold. And if you do, they regain emotional control. But if you don't, they accuse you of being too formal, like I said earlier, hoping the guilt will wear down your resolve. I'm going to give you a few examples. Oh, Joe, you used to be so soft with me. Now you act like I'm a stranger. Okay. So they are framing your healing as a flaw. And it's not because you're wrong, but just because you're no longer accessible. Or a lady who says, John, I know you said no sleepovers, but come on, just like old times. Bro, close your door and throw the keys in the ocean. You have a best friend, someone you're close to, or family in that town. If you don't have, you have hotels. Sleep there for the night. Because if you fold, your boundaries then become negotiable. And it's gonna be from one thing to the next. It's never gonna stop. Because now she knows that your boundaries are not as firm as you claimed they were. So you're left without explanation. And she's returning without explanation, and you can't see growth. So don't. There's also silent protestant. You express your boundaries, but they become very withdrawn and silent. They become very moody, but they don't argue. He emotionally punishes you until you soften your values. This is some sort of non-verbal coercion. Or the lady who says, I don't get it. You didn't have a problem with this before. But they know why you have a problem with it now. They just want you to defend your growth so they can poke holes in it. Or the emotional whiplash. He agrees to your boundaries at first, but doesn't waste a minute to break them in the long run. He starts texting late, flirty comments, a simple, innocent in his words, touch. And if you comply, he escalates. If you complain, it's like, relax, I was just joking. Another explanation to this is that when you heal, you set boundaries. And loss of control or restricted access now causes a narcissistic injury. A bruise to their ego or loss of dominance activates the brain's anterior cingulate cortex. It's similar to the pain center of the brain, and so this comes off as physical injury. When you have a wound, it hurts, and so this is how this translates in their mind, and they're going to try to restore that ego. They're going to try to find their way around having access and control over your emotions again, or your physical presence. So you have to be careful, because if their egoic mind is going to seek validation or revalidation through covert or overt manipulation, which can be in the form of gaslighting, emotional mirroring, or feigned vulnerability. They are not actually being vulnerable. They're just leeching and trying to gain information as much as they can get to disarm you. If you get what I mean. So the goal is not reconciliation. It is ego restoration. They must win you back. And it's not to treat you right, but more for humiliation purposes. Like, I got you. You claim to be this person. See where you are now? I got it. And this can be so demoralizing when you fall into this trap over and over again. And understandable, you can't help yourself most of the times. They must win you back to feel victorious. In fact, this process is emotionally rewarding to them due to the dopamine spikes that they have. Dopamine is associated with conquest. Like when you conquer something, when you know the feeling of joy, the feeling of winning something over another person. So not connection. I said something about feigned vulnerability earlier. So when someone returns into your life and says, I've changed, but when you ask him strategic questions or question some of his mannerisms or the way he moves and shows up in the earth with you and other people in this moment that he claims to have changed, he diverts the subject, and you realize that the growth is actually performance. It's performative to prove a point to you or make you consider them. Meanwhile, they're actually not changed or doing any inner work on themselves. It's a lie. They're just trying to get you back. Be careful. Oh, you've healed and become so distant. So all we had meant nothing to you. Guilt trap. Because they are framing your boundaries as betrayal and trying to shame you back into submission. No. It did mean a lot to me when it lasted, but it wasn't right and I've moved on. Oh, I guess I'm just too broken for someone like you. Victim inversion. So you're the cruel one for growing. Emotional blackmail dressed as vulnerability. Bravo. Calvin, I told you not to touch me in that way. Jill, you're being very dramatic. It was never that serious. And so you're invalidating her pain and repositioning yourself as the more reasonable one. Hi, Mika. I just called to check up on you. I've been so miserable without you. They're actually not concerned. They are preying on that little tactic to make you feel empathy for them, and they're gonna prey on it. It's gonna become a leech. He's clearly staging a pity party, and you're expected to be the emotional host. Let's be wise, ladies. Man, let's be wise. You know, I said something about the nostalgia trap earlier, where they weaponize your shared memories of past history. When they return saying things like, I still miss you, we made a great couple, we would have been, we're so good together, our kids would have been wonderful together, and all that. And this appeal to emotion tries to bypass logic, hoping you would associate their return with love instead of unresolved wounds and trauma. They don't miss the present you. They miss the version of you that didn't require accountability. And so this is what I'm going to say to these kind of people, because they ghosted you in the first place. You ghosted this person without any reason, no explanation. You manipulated them to thinking that they are the bad people. They are the ones who needed to be excluded. They have a problem. They deserved to have been walked away from. You are the one who got away. You made them feel like they do not have a reason for being. And then you return all of a sudden and you forgot why you ghosted them and you missed them. It's so sad, the things that we all put people through just because we want to validate our ego. It's so sad, the effort we put into trying to humiliate people and feeling victorious that I got you back. I had already listed a few examples. Maybe they send you a song that you guys used to love together, or your theme song together. You know, she shows you a hoodie you got for her, or he reminds you of a memory you both shared on a vacation. It's plenty of things that could trigger a reconnaissance. You start reminiscing and you're like, oh, how I wish. I'd like to say that when you meet someone who has truly changed, they fight to treat you better. They'll do everything to make you see the new version of them. I'm not talking about love bombing. I'm talking about healthy love that reaffirms. They apologize and make you see reasons why they left. Because anyone who has healed and returns with the intention of making things better is aware of their emotions and why they left in the first place. It could be because of their own childhood traumas. It could just be because they felt like, oh, I'm young and I want to go and live my life. It could be a number of things. And when they return with the intention of picking things up and making things right, you know, he doesn't give you any need for doubt. He reassures you, he rebuilds trust, and he knows that it's gonna take time. So he doesn't pressure you into completely accepting whatever he presents. He's patient. He doesn't overreact to things that you're unsure about. He gives you feedback. He's accountable to you. Because he knows that trust, when lost, is not being built in a day. It takes a lot of time, months, sometimes years, to rebuild the trust. So when someone is back in your life with the intention of making things right and moving forward, you know. And I'm talking about us even being at the receiving end. We should be quite aware when we're at the giving end as well. I read something on someone's status saying, oh, every time you do my makeup, my ex, I gain respect from my ex. Huh? Why? There's a lot of things are wrong with that statement. Because you're not self-sufficient. You don't feel beautiful in your skin without makeup. That's the very first thing. The second thing is, why are you doing your makeup to gain validation from your ex? I do not understand. Like, what's going on here? Why are you even considering the validation that you're getting from him? It's feeding your ego, obviously. So we should be careful when we are also at the giving end. It's very important to guard your heart. Know where you're headed. Emotional healing is so underrated. I wish I could explain it to the fullest. Because it could make or break your life. The person you end up with could kill you or make you blossom. I think we've all seen countless times when you meet a good person, you're glowing, shared ideas, shared victories. They correct you in love. They're gonna correct you regardless. He's gonna say it. He's gonna tell you, girl, your feet are not clean. And it's gonna be hard to take it, but you're gonna take it anyway. Because it's chastisement in love. And you'll have to try to not mirror your insecurities on him or get defensive or offended, you know. It's reassuring, it's serene, it's calm, it's quiet, it's beautiful. He's gonna hold your hand even in your messy state. He's gonna hold your hand even when he knows you can't cook, or you can cook but you can't clean, or you can do all these things but you're bad at mathematics. It's all encompassing. So I hope we make the right choices. I hope we choose better people for our children. You need to be discerning and emotionally intelligent to know when someone is trying to rewrite the past. That's why you went back to your ex and now you've broken up with him 6 times. Because there was really no true remorse. He showed you attention, but it wasn't attention to make you feel secure. It was attention, just enough attention to keep you chasing, to keep you wanting, to keep you hoping for more. I think I should talk about intermittent reinforcement. I had spoken about it in depth in my previous video, so I'll put it up here and you watch it so you understand the neurobiology behind intermittent reinforcement in every scenario. But let me talk about it here a little. Intermittent reinforcement is when affection, presence, like physical presence, attention, and gifts are given. And in relationships, when love is shown just enough to keep you attached, but not enough to make you secure, it becomes dangerous. It bruises your ego. You're found wanting. When he leaves, you're hoping that he's gonna return again, because that's all what you're used to. How about you change your environment, change your mindset, change how you see yourself? Because if you realize just how much of a treasure you are, educate yourself, empower yourself. That way, you're not going to sit here and wait for when next is gonna call you. You're not gonna sit here hoping for when next is gonna remember to text you. And talking about text messages, we all know that it takes just a minute, not even up to a minute, to say hi, hello. So when you keep hoping and expecting that they're gonna call, they're gonna text, you and I know that there's already a problem. And if that's a deal breaker for you, it should be for everybody. I don't know what I'm talking about. Communication is key in every successful relationship. I'm not saying that you should stay on call for 50 hours every day, but a simple hi, I'm on my way to this place, let me let you know, how are you doing? That's about it. They respond, you have a 2-minute to 5-minute chat, and off you go. It doesn't take anything from you. But these days, everyone is waiting to see who is going to text first. If someone is doing that with you, block them. Leave them. Have some self-respect. Because guess what? Anyone who is interested in you, I'm not talking about like immediate. I'm not talking about the people who think that if you meet someone instantly and they are not constantly responding to your messages and all of that, they are not interested in you. That's not true. People may be in stages of their life where they're not receptive towards anyone. Maybe they're just from a breakup, or they are just busy in that season of their life. They may find you attractive, but not want anything that's gonna throw them off their trajectory at the moment. So they'll have difficulty catching up, and it's not gonna be to the extreme, because anyone who's like that will be able to communicate to you and say that, listen, at the moment I'm not sure that I can show up for you in this way, but I'm gonna try or do my best and do as much as I can so that you feel seen and appreciated. However, on a normal, it doesn't take long to leave a text back. So please guard your hearts and your emotions. You are worth more than you think, and you can do this. Do not let yourself back into that situation. Pain and pleasure are the hallmark for trauma bonding. So do not mistake urgency for chemistry or confusion with romance, I beg you. An emotional roller coaster has been created in your mind, and it's time to turn back that wheel. It's time to take your power back from everybody you're giving it to. When you do something repeatedly, whether it is writing an exam, reading a certain course, or just doing a chore repeatedly, you become very good at it. Your brain trains itself to respond and know that thing at heart so much so that it's going to be difficult to forget. And that's how emotions are. We've forgotten that emotions, our brains are at work a lot of the times when we're thinking. It's like with songs. The songs you just can't forget because they are rooted in your heart. My worship leader usually says that I know it by heart and not by head. So when you have repeatedly gone through a cycle pattern or roller coaster of emotions, it becomes engraved in your spirit. And you think it's destiny. You think by replaying those text messages or over analyzing the text messages, replaying those memories in your head, something good is going to come out of it. No. Do not wake up every day with the intention of deluding yourself from your reality. It's gonna hurt. But take charge of that emotion and let that be the last tear that anyone makes you shed for something like that. And change is gonna feel strange at first. You know, people who have been used to chaotic or relationships where there's always a tussle and hustle are gonna meet someone who is very calm and feel like there's a problem. No, there's none. That's because your brain has trained itself to find safety in the known, even if the known is unhealthy, even if the known is unsafe and painful. So if he disappears during the week and sends you messages on weekends, don't take it seriously. If she disappears for 3 months and responds after 3 months to your messages or comes and says a simple I miss you, they're not serious. When you pull away and they come back and love bomb you, and then when you become attached again, they leave, which is called the push-pull mechanism. Do not take them seriously because it keeps you hooked, it keeps you wanting. And then you start doubting yourself, your identity, you start feeling insecure, you start feeling like you're not beautiful, you're not worthy of love, you're not good enough in simple terms. Let's be wise, ladies. Let's be wise. Men, establish firm boundaries and follow through with them. Be able to discern when someone is just after your future. Know when somebody is a familiar spirit. Know when someone is a monitoring spirit. Now you grow. Have you ever thought to wonder why, when you are seemingly growing and getting somewhere in life, this person resurfaces with no accountability, no depth, no explanation, but with the hopes of getting that special treatment or honor and respect that they once had. I hope you learned something from today's episode. Thank you. If I have nothing, I got you. Thanksgiving. Back then when I was a baby girl, I was yours and you were my world. Tell me what you wanna do for me now. Run my race, I'm running back there. Run my race. Pull out tonight, I might be risky. But me's the man, forget the risky. You're used to trying to get back with me. You're trying to be the one I'll hang with. Don't call my phone, you're not a madman. You miss the way you not the one chance. I'm in my life, don't need you with me. Yeah, yeah. Cause I'm done with you now. No more damage is done. You guys, it's literally about 3 a.m. and I'm filming. That's why I'm whispering. But I'm gonna give you guys a rendition of what I'm singing some other time. Thank you. Peace out. Bye. When I was a baby.